Guys, what's happening?
Morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So yeah, we were doing circles yesterday. So along with that, we discussed tangents for parabola, ellipse, hyperbola as well. Then how things change for parabola, how they're related. Then we did chord of contact, length of tangent, each of them. So yeah, let's continue along that note. Let's get into well, parabola. Reading from that. But then we'll be discussing hyperbola and ellipse in this as well. Okay, that's the idea. Yeah. All right, so a parabola in standard form is y square equal to 4x. Okay, it will look something like this. Y square, as in for every value of x, there'll be two values of y. That's the idea. Okay, y square equal to 4x. For every value of x, there'll be two values of y. Okay. Now, eccentricity for a parabola is 1. Right, so before we get into that. Okay. So I told you, for a pair of straight lines, delta will be equal to 0. What is delta? This HGF, HG, HGH. Okay, should be equal to 0. For conics, they are not equal to 0. All right. Now, so for conics, there is one common property. You have a fixed point, S, and a fixed line. Okay, so your point moves in such a way that the distance from a fixed point, the ratio of that to the distance from the fixed line, which is the perpendicular distance. You can say PS by PM will be a constant, and we call that E, which is the eccentricity of the conic. Okay, eccentricity of the conic. So here, if I notice that E is equal to 0, the conic is nothing but a circle. Okay, now how does that circle work? There's a fixed point, which is the center of the circle, and a fixed line, okay, which is at infinite distance away from it. Okay, that's the idea. That's how it becomes a circle. Okay, that's the limiting case. So fixed line is infinite distance away from it. Fixed point, the distance will be r, and that will be equal to 0. Distance from fixed point to fixed line will be equal to 0, which means circle. Now, if E is between 0 and 1, you can say it is an ellipse. So an ellipse without any eccentricity is basically what a circle is. Now, when E is equal to 1, you have a parabola. And when E greater than 1, you have a hyperbola. Okay. So remember, hyperbola is not like two parabolas placed against each other. Some people have that misconception. Take that away. Okay. So whenever you have PS by PM equal to constant, then you can find the equation of the conic. So the idea is, if a point is given to you, okay, as the focus, and a line is given to you as the directrix, all right, then, and the eccentricity is also given, you can easily find the equation of any conic, like however it is angled. So in your CBC syllabus, what you have are conics with center at 0, 0, and the axis will be parallel to the coordinate axis, right? So that is what is there in your CBSE textbook. Okay. But then this is for any kind of conic, like oriented anyway, placed anywhere. All right. So this will be applicable for that. Then the standard equation of a conic will look like this: ax square plus by square plus 2hxy plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equal to 0. Okay. So for a parabola, you can say that delta, we already know what delta is. Delta is not equal to 0. E is equal to 1. And h square equal to AB. Okay. For an ellipse, again, delta not equal to 0. E is between 0 and 1. And h square is less than AB. For a hyperbola, delta not equal to 0. E is greater than 1. And h square greater than AB. For a rectangular hyperbola, you know what a rectangular hyperbola is? The length
Sir,
of
xy
transverse
equal
axis.
to c square.
Sorry.
So the xy equal to c square.
Xy equal to c square is one particular type of rectangular hyperbola. Okay. Xy equal to minus c square is another particular type of hyperbola. X square by a square minus y square by b, y square by a square equal to 1 is another particular type of hyperbola. In all of these, you can notice that length of transverse axis and the length of conjugate axis are the same. Okay. They'll be the same. So here delta will not be equal to 0. E will be equal to root of 2. E is generally 1 plus b square by a square, right? B square is the length of conjugate axis, half the length of conjugate axis. So that will be the same as that of the transverse axis. So a square by a square will become 1. Root of 1 plus 1 is root 2. Okay. So h square is greater than AB here. But then note that a plus b will be equal to 0. Okay, so just remember these conditions for the different conics. Okay, so for parabola, we have that y square equal to 4ax. We'll discuss ellipse and hyperbola also. Ellipse will be x square by a square plus y square by b square equal to 1. For hyperbola, x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. Look like this. It'll be like this if a greater than b, and it'll be like this if b greater than a. Now here it doesn't matter if a is greater than b or b greater than a. Where the minus sign is attached to, where the plus sign is attached to, that should tell you where the axis is. Okay, the transverse axis is on the x-axis, and conjugate axis will be perpendicular to it. The center is 0, 0. So here it is, y-axis. Okay. Now, you have a parabola here. 1 second. Y equal to 0. Okay. So here, parabola will look like this. Okay. The center for all of these is 0, 0. How do you find the center? Guys, how do you find the center? You can partially differentiate the equation. Okay. So write that note there. Find center by partially differentiating with respect to x and y. Got that? Like you have y square equal to 4x. You partially differentiate with respect to x. This equation, y square minus 4x. How do you partially differentiate with respect to x? When you partially differentiate with respect to x, you treat x as the only variable there. Everything else will be treated like a constant. So y square, when you do dou by dou x, will become 0. Minus 4x will become minus 4a because you are treating x like a variable. Everything else will be treated as a constant. So here, this will be equal to 0. So here you can say that 0 is, sorry, you can say that 4a is equal to 0, which doesn't really help. Okay. So this is one line. The other one is dou by dou y. So here it will be, you're treating y as a constant. So dou y equal to 0. Here you can say that y is equal to 0. So you put y equal to 0, you get x equal to 0. So which means 0, comma 0 is the center. Do the same thing with the ellipse. For the ellipse, what will it become? Dou by dou x. 2x by a square plus 0. Y will be treated like a constant. It will come out to 0. So here you can say that x is equal to 0. When you do dou by dou y, what happens? 2y by b square plus 0. X will be treated like a constant now. Is equal to 0. Here you can say y is equal to 0. 0, comma 0 is the center. So for a pair of straight lines or for any conic, remember to find the center, partially differentiate and solve. Okay. All right. So partially differentiate and then solve. You'll get the center for the ellipse, hyperbola, and parabola. What about the foci? For the ellipse, it will be a comma 0. For the hyperbola and for the parabola, it will be a comma 0. For the hyperbola and ellipse, it will be a e comma 0 plus or minus. Okay, guys. Then we have the vertex. Vertex here is 0, comma 0. And here, vertex and the center are the same for the parabola. Okay. Now, here it will be plus or minus a comma 0. All right. And what else do we have? We have directrix. Directrix is x equal to minus a. Right. In this case, it will be x equal to plus or minus a by e. Same for this here. Okay. Now, notice that the equation of ellipse was like this, x square plus a square plus y square by b square equal to 1. And equation of the hyperbola was x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. So you write this as minus b square. So this will become plus. So you notice that to get anything in the hyperbola, you just replace b square with minus b square. Okay, coordinates or anything you want to find, replace b square with minus b square. Okay. Now, you know what a double ordinate is? Double ordinate. A double ordinate is a line perpendicular to the axis, okay, to the main axis. Line will be perpendicular to the main axis and it will, okay, any line perpendicular to the main axis intersecting the conic at 2 points. So for an ellipse, it will look like this. Any of these are double ordinates. For a hyperbola, it looks like this. Any of these are double ordinates. All right, guys, following? Okay, this is what a double ordinate is. Guys, do you have any doubts as of now?
No, sir.
Sir, can you scroll up for a second?
Yes. Partially differentiating part or the one before that?
The partially differentiating part.
Okay. So I gave better example in the pair of straight lines class. This was just to reiterate what I said. Okay.
Sir, can you explain what double ordinate is again?
Double ordinate is basically a chord which is perpendicular to the main axis. Okay. So it will intersect the conic at 2 points. So from one point to the other, you have a double ordinate like this. So you know what this is, right? Like this.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so these are all double ordinates. When the double ordinate passes through the focus, you have your latus rectum. Okay. Latus rectum is when the double ordinate passes through the focus. Okay. So here it will be x equal to the equation of the latus rectum will be x equal to a. Here will be x equal to a by e plus or minus a by e. Same for this, x equal to plus or minus a by e. Now, the length of latus rectum will be 4a for a parabola, 2b square by a, 2b square by a for hyperbola and ellipse respectively. Okay. So I told you, right? Here, whatever you get, replace b square with minus b square. So you can replace it with minus b square, but remember, you're talking about the length here. So you have to put a modulus outside and the minus vanishes. Okay. This part should be clear to you. Then. Okay. Matrix is done. Okay. Then parametric form. AT square 2AT. You know this parametric form?
Yes, sir. Not
Okay,
yesterday.
exactly. So where you use t is a variable here. Okay, for any y square equal to 4ax, you can represent any point x comma y on it using the parameter AT square comma 2AT. What do I mean by that? A is taken from the equation. Now t and t square. If I change the value of t, each time I change the value of t, I get a different point on the parabola or the conic. Okay. So t is the parameter here. AT square comma 2AT is how this is implemented. So y square. So replace y square with 2AT the whole square. It will become 4a square t square. Now what is 4a into x? 4a into AT square. That is also 4a square t square. So here you can verify it. Now for an ellipse, it will be a cos theta, b sin theta. For a hyperbola, it will be a sec theta, b tan theta. Okay. So please remember this parametric form. Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
for different types of ellipse. Okay, there is AT square, 2AT. This is y square equal to 4ax. Now, if it was like this, what will the equation be? If the parabola was like this, what will the equation be? You learned this in school. This is y square equal to,
Minus 4ax.
correct. You replace x with minus x. That's what is happening here. Okay, remember x is replaced with minus x here. So, what will the parametric form be? Minus AT square 2AT. You replace x, which is AT square, with minus x. That's what you did here. Okay. This is the parametric form. What is the focus here? I'll just show that once. Minus a comma 0. So just remember, okay, you're replacing whatever x part is there with minus of it. Okay, guys? Now, what
Yes,
about this
sir.
one? What is this equation like?
X square is equal to 4ay.
Square equal to 4ay. This is this kind of a parabola. Okay. So here, what is the parametric form? 2AT comma AT square. Remember, you replaced what? X with y here. All right. You replaced x and y. That's all you did. Okay. So you interchange x and y. That's all. Okay. So this comes first 280 comma AT squared. Got this, guys? The directrix will be not x equal to minus a. It will be x, y equal to minus a. Okay. All right. The directrix here will be y equal to minus a. Now, for this one, how would you write the equation?
X square is equal to minus 4ay.
Okay. And what is the parametric form?
2a minus 280. No. 280 comma minus 80 square.
Correct. So what happens here is you're trying to make LHS equal to RHS. Think like that. Okay, 280 is what will be squared, which will be 4a squared t squared, and 4a into minus 80 squared. Okay, so in between this and this, you can see that y has been replaced with minus y. Okay, so that is what you did here. So this part becomes minus of this part. You can think like that. Okay, the directrix will be y equal to plus a. The focus will be 0 comma minus a. Here it will be a 0 comma a. Okay, so these are about the 4 standard ways of dealing with parabola. Now, next comes focal distance. Okay, this will be equal to a plus x, which is the x coordinate of the point. So you have a point given, okay, and you have to find its distance from the focus a comma 0. So you have some point x comma y given to you on y square equal to 4x. How do you find focal distance? Simply add that to a. X plus a will be your answer. All right. Okay, so what happens here is, look, the distance is what? X minus a the whole square. Okay, it's x1 comma y1. put it like that. X1 minus a whole square plus y1 square. Y1 square is nothing but 4a into x1. It lies on the parabola. So this can be replaced with 4a x1. So together this becomes root of x1 plus a the whole square, right? Expand it. There will be x1 square plus a square minus 2x1a into 4, plus 4x1a. That becomes plus 2x1a. Then it becomes mod of x1 plus a. So focal distance is simply mod of a plus x for y square equal to 4ax. Now, for y square equal to minus 4ax, what will the focal distance be? A minus x. Okay. For x square equal to 4ay, what will the focal distance be? A plus y. Remember, you can remember the changes here, right? You're replacing x with y here. Then, for x square equal to minus 4ay, what will it be? Focal distance? Mod of a minus y. Okay, remember all this. You understood the focal distance?
So can you repeat it?
Yes.
Okay, so focal distance is the distance of a point on the conic to its focus. The focus for parabola y square equal to 4x is a comma 0, and the point on it, I'm calling it x1 comma y1. Okay, you can call it at square comma 2at also, and then you'll get the same result. Doesn't matter. Okay, and then what do? You're finding the distance between these 2 points. Distance between these 2 points will be x1 minus a the whole square plus y1 minus 0 the whole square. Now, y1 square, x1 comma y1 lies on this. So it satisfies this equation y1 square equal to 4ax1, right? So that y1 square, I'll replace it with 4ax1. Now, when I expand this, what do I get? x1 square plus a square minus 2a into x1 plus 4a into x1. So that becomes x1 square plus a square plus 2ax1. And that is nothing but x1 plus a the whole square. Lakshani, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then this becomes a plus x. So a plus x1. So if the point is x1 comma y1, you're looking at the point a plus x1. Or if this is a parabola, y square equal to minus 4x, you replace x1 with minus x1. Okay, that's what happens. You replace x with minus x. That's what's happening here. Okay. Equal to 4ay, a plus y1 is a minus y1. Yeah. Okay, here you replaced x and y. Here you replace y with minus y. Okay, here you replace x with minus x. Any doubts here, guys?
No, sir.
All right. Now, if we translate all this, okay. Now, till now the center has been 0, comma 0. So then you get y square equal to 4ax, y square equal to minus 4x, x square equal to 4ay, and x square equal to minus 4ay. This is when the center is 0, comma 0, or the vertex is 0, comma 0. Now, if the vertex is some point h, comma k, how do things change? Okay, so y square equal to 4x will be here. But if I change this to some place here, where this point is h, comma k, how does the equation change? Guys, translation of axis is what I taught yesterday. Come on. You bring in a new coordinate system. This will be capital X. This will be capital Y. Okay, this was small x. This was small y. So the coordinate system changes in this way. Capital X is equal to small x minus h. Capital Y equal to small y minus k. Okay. So in this new form, it will be y square equal to 4ax, which can be further written as y minus k the whole square equal to 4a into x minus h. Got this? You replace y with y minus k and x with x minus h and move it to any point h, comma k. Is this clear? I'm talking about the vertex here. Okay, from 0, comma 0, I move it to any point h, comma k. Any doubts here, guys?
No, sir.
All right. So you can do the same for these remaining parabolas as well. Is that clear? Okay. So you can shift a parabola of this shape to anywhere. You can shift a parabola of this shape to anywhere. Shift a parabola of this shape to anywhere else. Okay, just replace y with y minus k and x with x minus h. You can do exactly that. Now is it clear? All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll discuss one case. Okay, so y minus k the whole square is equal to 4a into x minus h. The vertex will be h comma k. The focus, what will the focus be?
A itself.
So remember, in the capital XY coordinate system, it will be a comma 0. But that is in the capital XY coordinate system. You're getting a comma 0. And capital X is nothing but x minus h. And capital Y is nothing but y minus k equal to a comma 0. So in the old system, in the XY system, you'll get this as h plus a comma k. So this is what you get as the focus. Is this clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
All right. You change the axis to capital X, Y axis. Okay, where the center is h comma k. So then the change you bring about is capital X equal to x minus h and capital Y equal to y minus k. So focus will change like this. Now, what can you say about the directrix? In the new system, it will be x equal to plus or minus a by e, right? But then this is nothing but x minus h. So x is equal to h plus or minus, no, not a by e, it's a plus or minus a. This is a parabola we are talking about. Okay. So this becomes a directrix. What about the axis? Axis is easy. It will be which one? The axis, it will be capital Y equal to 0, right? In y square equal to 4x, y equal to 0 is the axis, the x-axis. So here it will be y minus k equal to 0, which means y is equal to k will be the axis. Okay. So I hope you understood this. Now, length of lattice rectum. Did we discuss that? Length of lattice rectum?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 2b squared by a. Fine. Okay. We have this much with us.
So 1 second, can you scroll up?
Yes, yes, yes. Is this what you were looking for?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me the parametric point for this action? Parametric point? X comma y will be 80 square 280.
8 square minus 280.
You get h plus 80 square and k plus 280. This will be the parametric point of a translated parabola. Okay. We haven't tilted it yet. Okay. We're just translating it from here and there. It will be standard hyperbola, standard parabola, but translated. Okay. Center has been changed to another point. Okay. So when you get a translated parabola, you define a capital X, capital Y axis. Okay. And deal with it as if it is a standard hyperbola. This is the method for any problem. Got this? All right. The same logic goes for ellipse and hyperbola. So I'm not going to explain that. Okay. All right. So parametric point for ellipse will be h plus A cos theta, A plus B sin theta. For a hyperbola, for a translated hyperbola, it will be H plus A sec theta, K plus B tan theta. All right. For a circle, the parametric point, we learned it yesterday. H plus R cos theta, K plus R sin theta. All right. I hope this was clear to everyone. Now, so I hope you understood that we don't need to learn this specially. Just shift the axis and then treat it like a normal hyperbola. And then in the end, bring it back to the original axis. Whatever answer you get, bring it back to the original axis. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we look at the equation of chord. Joining any 2 points on the parabola. Okay. So first you have to define 2 points. So I'll take it as AT square 280. Okay. AT1 square 281 and point Q will be AT2 square 2AT2. This is a parametric equation. So there are two parameters T1 and T2 used to define 2 points P and Q on the axis. P is defined by parameter T1 and Q is defined by parameter T2. Yeah? Clear or not? I just put in 2 points. Okay, I use two parameters T1 and T2 to represent the 2 points, such that I can say that T1 is not equal to T2. What does that mean? They are not the same 2 points. Okay. Is this clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now can you form a line joining these 2 points PQ? Find the equation of the line PQ. So I'll take a reference point P. So y minus 2AT1 equal to m into x minus AT1 square. Now what is m? 2a into T2 minus T1 divided by a into T2 square minus T1 square. So I can write this as y minus 2AT1 equal to 2 by T2 plus T1, T1 plus T2, whatever, x minus AT1 square. So you can see that the slope of any chord will be 2 by T1 plus T2. That is your takeaway from here. Okay. You are given any chord, you can find the slope like this. Okay. So let's rewrite this equation. Y into T1 plus T2 minus 2a T1 square minus 2a T1 T2 equal to 2x minus 2a T1 square, 2a T1 square cancels out. And you get the equation like this, y equal to T1 plus T2, y into T1 plus T2 equal to 2x plus 2a T2. Okay. So this becomes your equation of any chord passing through 2 points with parameter T1 and T2. If you can remember it, well and good. But don't lose confidence if you can't remember it, because you can derive it on the spot. Okay. You're just bringing in 2 points and finding the equation of a line. This is the easiest derivation you will see. Okay. Got this much? Now, can you tell me what a focal chord is? What is a focal chord? It's a chord that passes through the focus, which means it passes through a comma 0 here. So bring it in here, a comma 0, what does it become? 0 equal to 2a plus 2a T1 T2. So you'll get a condition, T1 T2 equal to minus 1. So for a focal chord, the endpoint of the focal chord, if they are T1 and T2, you will always have this condition being satisfied, that T1 into T2 equal to minus 1. Or remember, whenever you see T1, T2 equal to minus 1, focal chord. Got this? All right. Whenever you see T1 into T2 equal to minus 1, you should understand that you are looking at a focal chord. Right, I hope this is clear. Now, how do you find the length of the focal chord? So this is a parabola with points A, which is defined by parameter T1, and point B defined by parameter T2, it goes through the focus. That's all they're saying here. Okay, A comma 0, the focus here. So T1, T2 will be equal to -1 for all such chords. Okay. Now, how do you find the length of focal chord? Can you please tell me the length of the focal chord? Root of. So this point is 80, 281. Sorry. 280, 80 square. 80 square, 280. Sorry. So yeah. So this becomes 81 square minus 82 square, the whole square, plus 281 square, 281 minus 282, the whole square. What does this come out to? I can take A common. Wait. I will take A square common from this. And then I'm left with T1 square minus T2 square, the whole square. That will become T1 minus T2, the whole square, into T1 plus T2, the whole square, minus, sorry, plus. Now I'll take 2A, the whole square outside, which means 4 into A square comes outside. And T1 minus T2, the whole square is here. So from here, you can see that I can take mod A common. Mod of T1 minus T2, I can take common. I'm left with T1 plus T2, the whole square, plus 4. That's it. What is T1 plus T2, the whole square? T1 square plus T2 square plus 2 T1, T2. Now this plus 4, I'll write it as, we're looking at the length of the focal chord, right? So here, remember, T1 into T2 will always be -1. So this plus 4, I'll write it as -4 into -1. Okay, so subtle change here. The plus 4, I wrote it as -4 into -1, which will make it -4 into T1, T2. Okay, so combine these terms together. What do you get? You get this as T1 minus T2, the whole square under the root. Say this root. Okay, so you get the length of the focal chord as A into T1 minus T2, the whole square. All right. It's a pretty useful thing to remember, but yeah, it's not necessary you remember it. You can derive it on the spot. Remember this subtle change here. -4, this plus 4 becomes -4 into -1, where T1, T2 is equal to -1. Very yummy. Okay. Any doubts here, guys? Assuming there isn't.
No, sir.
Yeah. So, next topic. Position of a point with respect to parabola. Okay, we need to find this position of a point with respect to parabola. How do we go about this? So when you have I square equal to 4ax, you know this is what it will look like. But when a point is given to you, you have to find whether it's inside or outside the parabola. So this area is inside and the remaining area is outside. Okay. So I'll define a quantity called S, which is y square minus 4ax. Okay. All right. So the thing is, the parabola divides the plane into two parts. One is inside the parabola, other is outside the parabola. So the safest way of doing this is take a point you know for sure lies outside the parabola, -1, 0, or inside the parabola. Put it there. What happens here? This becomes 0. This becomes -4a into -1, which becomes +4a. And you know plus 4a is greater than 0. So when S is greater than 0, you'll get a point outside the parabola. So I define x1 as y1 square minus 4ax1, where the point is x1 comma y1. So I put that point, I'm going to check into the equation of the hyperbola, into the equation of the parabola, and then I check its sign. If it is less than 0, it is inside. If it is equal to 0, it is on the parabola. If it is greater than 0, it is outside the parabola. Okay? This much clear? Is any doubts here?
No, sir.
All right, let's move ahead then. Intersection of a line and parabola. Okay. So, we have y equal to mx plus c and a parabola y square equal to 4ax. Okay. So, whenever you get a question with the translated parabola, you bring it to y square equal to 4ax and then convert this also to y equal to mx plus c. Okay. Guys, are you getting this? When you have a translated parabola, this is what you do. All right. Mx plus, yeah, c dash. Okay, so here, what happens when you solve a line and a parabola? When you solve a line and a parabola, you will get information regarding its intersection. That's what happens. Okay, so I have y square equal to 4x. I'll replace it with mx plus c the whole square equal to 4x. Okay, guys? Intersection of a line and parabola. All right. Mx plus c the whole square will be equal to 4ax. Now here, what will happen is m square x square plus 2mc minus 4a into x plus c square equal to 0 is the quadratic you obtain in x. Any doubts here? I am solving the line and the conic. Okay, the same thing applies for ellipse and hyperbola as well. Okay, so you have a line and an ellipse, you have a line and a hyperbola. You solve both, you get a quadratic in x. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now the quadratic in x represents the two possible intersection points it can have. Is that clear as well? The quadratic
Yes,
in
sir.
x will represent the points of intersection there. So basically, if d is greater than 0, this intersects at 2 points. If d is equal to 0, it intersects at 1 point. It will have only one root. That's the idea. If d is less than 0, there is no intersection. All right, guys, keep this clear in your head. Okay? All right. So, you understood this much? Okay. Now, for tangency, what is the condition? It should intersect at 1 point, which means d is equal to 0. Okay, for tangency, d is equal to 0. Let's find the condition. D is b square minus 4ac, which is 4 into mc minus 2a the whole square minus 4 into m square c square should be equal to 0. So 4 and 4 will cancel out because this minus m square c square will be taken to the other side. So I'll get m square c square plus 4a square minus 4amc minus m square c square equal to 0, where m square c square simply cancel each other out. I get a square equal to amc, or in other words, I'll get c equal to a by m. This is the condition for tangency. Okay, guys? For any line y equal to mx plus c to be tangent to y square equal to 4ax, the condition for tangency is obtained by taking d equal to 0, which will fetch you c equal to a by m. All right? Here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, c is equal to a by m will be the condition for tangency for a parabola. Please remember this. Similarly, using d equal to 0, okay, so this is parabola. For an ellipse and hyperbola also we can find. For an ellipse, so we get the condition c square equal to a square m square plus b square. For a hyperbola, we get c square equal to a square m square. Just replace b square with minus b square. Okay, this is the condition of tangency for a hyperbola. Like standard ellipse, standard hyperbola. Okay, x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. Okay, this will be the condition for tangency. I hope this was crystal clear to all of you. Okay, now the point of contact will be a by m square and 2a by m. Do you remember the condition for tangency for a circle? C square equal to a square into m square plus 1. Okay, so that's a square m square plus a square. Okay, this is for a circle. Circle x square plus y square equal to a square. So here, notice that in ellipse, I replace the second a square with b square. And then for hyperbola, I replace that b square with minus b square. Okay, so I hope you can remember this. These are important conditions I want you to remember by heart. That's why I'm giving it to you first off itself. Okay, now the point of contact is obtained by a by m square 2a by m. All right. The point of contact is determined by a by m square 2a by m. Similarly, you can get point of contact for ellipse, for hyperbola, and for circle. I wouldn't suggest you remember all that. Okay. For that, I would like you to use the point form of tangent. All right. So we have just learned that the slope form of tangent for y square equal to 4ax would be y equal to mx plus c, where c is equal to a by m. So this is the slope form of any tangent to the hyperbola with given slope m. Okay, so this is the slope form. Now the point form of a tangent, I told you, if any point x1 comma y1 is given on a conic, to find the point form of the tangent, you replace y square with y1, x square with x1. If there's any x term, you'll replace it. You'll bring in a 2x such that you'll replace 2x with x plus x1. You replace any 2y with y plus y1. You replace any xy with xy1 plus yx1 by 2. So you replace any 2xy with xy1 plus yx1. Okay. So once you do this, you'll get the point form of the tangent. So you have your equation like this, y square equal to 4ax. You'll write that as 2a into 2x. Okay. Now, its tangent at the point x1 comma y1, which lies on the parabola or on the conic, would be what? y1 equal to 2a into x plus x1. Okay. Guys, any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, you can write this as y equal to 2a by y1 into x plus 2a x1 by y1. Right? Okay, I'm writing it in y equal to mx plus c form. Okay. So, when you compare both, you can see that y1 can be written as 2a by m. Okay. And here x1, you can see that 2a x1 by y1 is equal to a by m. So x1 can be written as y1 by 2m, and y1 is 2a by m. So you get x1 as a by m square and y1 as 2a by m. That is the point we obtained here. Are you getting this, guys? What we did here? We had slope form. So suppose you have the equation of the tangent, you can easily find the point of contact. Write the equation of the point form of the tangent and find the related point. Find the relevant point there. Okay, that will be the point of contact. This method is applicable for ellipse and hyperbola as well. So please understand this. Did you guys follow what I said here, or do you need another explanation?
So can you just repeat it once?
Yes. So you have some line given to you. Okay, we'll do it with a problem. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So looking for a problem once again. Find the point of contact. Or find points of contact of tangent with slope equal to 3. Find points of contact of tangent with slope equal to 3. If you remember the formula, you can use it directly. If you don't remember the formula, nothing to worry. So first, we'll write y equal to mx plus a is equal to 1. Okay, 1 by m. And that will be equal to 3x plus 1 by 3. Okay, so I'll write this as 3y equal to 9x plus 1, removing all the denominators. Is this much clear? Okay, so this is the slope form with slope. I put the slope also. Instead of m, the slope is there. Now, here, how do I find the point form? So, the tangent at any point x1 comma y1 on this parabola will be obtained by y1 equal to 2 into x plus x1. So, I can write this as y1 equal to 2x plus 2x1. Is this much good? Both the lines are the same tangents. Okay, so I'm just comparing both of them. So y1 by 3 equal to 2 by 9 equal to 2x1 by 1. So I'll get y1 equal to 2 by 3 and x1 equal to 1 by 9. Okay, so 1 by 9 comma 2 by 3 becomes the point of intersection. Yeah. Harish, any doubts?
No, sir.
Sir, I didn't understand the part where you had put y is equals to mx plus 1 by m.
Okay. That is y equal to mx plus c is the general equation of a line. Okay. The condition for this line to be tangent to the given hyperbola, given parabola y square equal to 4x would be c equal to a by m. So c is 1 by m because this will be equal to 4x. You can see that a is equal to 1. Okay.
Okay, sir, got it.
That is what I replaced here. Okay. So there I found like if a slope is given, I can find the equation of the tangent. Now, the other form is where the point is given on the parabola on which you want the tangent. So basically, we want the point. Okay. x1 comma y1. So we use that line and we say both are the same lines. So we simply divide the coefficients. We say the ratio will be the same. Okay. Now, this is for point of contact. So to find tangents of different cases, I told you what to do, right? Convert it into the new format, y square equal to 4ax, and then bring in your y equal to mx plus c in this form only. Okay, and then compare. Okay, then use these conditions. Okay, guys? Now, okay, now comes parametric form of the tangent. Okay, how do you find the parametric form of the tangent? You use the parametric point, 80 square to 80, and use it in place of x1 comma y1. So you have y square equal to 4x. The tangent will be, so this is t equal to 0 equation basically, literally. Y1 equal to 2a into x plus x1. So replace y1 with 2at and x1 with a t square. So 2a will cancel out. You get yt equal to x plus at square. Okay, this is the equation of tangent. And there is an important takeaway here. Slope of tangent will be 1 by t, and hence slope of normal will be minus t. Okay, this is your takeaway from this. Even if you don't remember this part, you can easily derive it. But this I want you to have at your fingertips. Okay, slope of tangent at a point with parameter t will simply be 1 by t. This I want you to remember. Okay. All right, guys, got this parametric form?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we did point form, slope form, and parametric form. Okay, of tangent. Now, okay, director's circle. Director's circle is the locus of intersection of perpendicular tangents from the cone. Okay, so you have some I square equal to 4ax. Okay, and you find a bunch of tangents that are actually perpendicular. Where do those tangents meet? Okay, so suppose you get some perpendicular tangents. Where do they meet? So they meet on some locus called the director's circle. Okay, it applies to all conics. For a circle, what is the director's circle? For a circle, x square plus y square equal to a square. What is the director's circle? It will be x square plus y square equal to 2a square. I showed you, right? The diagonal of a square will be root 2 into a, and that will be the radius of the next circle. So for a circle, it will be like this. For a parabola, y square equal to 4ax, it will be the directrix. Okay, that is x equal to minus a. Okay, guys. For a parabola, the directrix circle is nothing but a line, which is the directrix. Okay. Now, for an ellipse, this will be x square plus y square equal to a square plus b square. Okay, this will be the director's circle. Now, for a hyperbola, director's circle will be x square plus y square equal to a square minus b square. So just think of writing the circles part as a square plus a square and replace one a square with b square to get that of ellipse, and replace that b square with minus b square to get the same for hyperbola. Okay, think about it like this. But for a parabola, things are a little different. We are looking at a directrix itself. Okay, it's equal to minus a. Okay, do this question. Find the slope of tangents from 3, 8 to y square equal to minus 12x. Find the slope of tangents from 3, 8 to y square equal to minus 12x.
So what should we find in this question?
We have find the slopes of the tangents from the point 3, 8 to this. So here you can see.
So
yeah. Sorry.
Should we do it like y1 is equals to 2a of x plus x1? Can we use that formula?
X plus x1, and then you'll substitute the point 3, 8, right? This will be wrong.
Yes, sir.
Saying this is the tangent, right? This is wrong. T equal to 0 is this equation. This is not tangent unless 3, 8 lies on the parabola. Okay, remember that. That's a very important condition. 3, 8 should lie on the parabola. Then only T equal to 0 will be tangent. Otherwise, what is T equal to 0? We learned this yesterday. It will become the chord of contact. Okay.
Okay, sir.
3, 8 does not lie on the conic. Then T equal to 0 at 3, 8 becomes chord of contact. Okay. So, tangent. Here, we will not use this method. Okay. So, you can take A as minus 3 here. Or you can take A as 3, but then just remember the condition for tangent will change. C is equal to minus A by M. If you take A as 3, C will be equal to minus A by M. Right? If you take A as minus 3, then it actually works. So, Y equal to mx minus 3 by M is your tangent. Okay. And 3, 8 will pass through the tangent. Okay. So 8 will be here. 3m will be here. Minus 3 by m will be here, which means 8m equal to 3m square minus 3. 3m square minus 8m minus 3 equal to 0. Gives me the roots as m equal to 8 plus or minus 64 plus 4 into 3 into 3. 4 into 9, which is 36. 36 plus 64 is 100. Root of that is 10 divided by 6 becomes 3 and minus 1 by 3. Okay. So you get both the values of slopes as 3 and minus 1 by 3 directly. Did you understand what I did here?
Yes, sir.
All right. I hope all of you got this. Okay. Now, T equal to 0 is the chord of contact. Some of you are missing for yesterday's class, so that's why I'm repeating this again. T equal to 0 is chord of contact. What is chord of contact? So you have some conic with you, you have some point. From that point, you draw two tangents, okay, to the conic. Okay, so they will touch the conic at two different points, and the chord formed because of these 2 points is the chord of contact. Okay, so this will be the chord of contact. Now, how do you obtain this point? Simply put T equal to 0. You understood what T equal to 0 equation is, right? You replace x square with x, x1. You replace y square with y, y1. You replace 2x with x plus x1. You replace 2y with y plus y1. And xy, 2xy will be replaced with xy1 plus yx1. So you do this to any conic. Okay, you put T equal to 0 to any conic. And if the point x1 comma y1 lies on the conic, okay, then you get a tangent. If it does not lie on the conic, then you get a chord of contact with respect to that point. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so if so how to answer questions to find nearest point questions? Okay, nearest point and all. So suppose some point is given to you, you are asked to find. Okay, some line is given to you. Okay, you are asked to find the point on the curve that is nearest to the line. What would you do? It's a step. I'll tell you the steps. You can solve it on your own. Okay. What you do is you find the tangent with the same slope. The idea here is that the nearest point, okay, the nearest point will have its tangent parallel to the reference line. Following? Okay. Find parallel tangent. Okay. So there'll be a maximum, there'll be two tangents. For ellipse and hyperbola also it's true. Okay. Which is nearer? Okay, that you have to figure out. You'll get two parallel lines. You figure out which of these two parallel lines are closest to this. Okay. So then you pick the right one. Okay. And then you find the point of contact. You already know how to find point of contact. Right? Find the point of contact after that on that line. Okay, this is how you find the nearest point on a hyperbola or parabola or ellipse or circle. Is this clear? Okay, first thing you check is whether the line intersects this, the conic. Okay, that is what you check. If they intersect, then there is no nearest point. That's the point of intersection they're talking about. All right. If they don't intersect, this is what you do. Right? Find parallel tangent and then use the point form to find the point of contact. Okay. Got this, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's practice one question. Tangents are drawn. Write the question. Tangents are drawn to point of intersection of line. This line, 7y minus 4x equal to 10. And the parabola, y square equal to 4x. Point of intersection of the tangents is. A very easy question if you understood chord of contact. Understood whatever I said today? This is actually a pretty easy question.
Sir, can you repeat the question?
Yes. So tangents are drawn from point of intersection of this line and this parabola. Find the point of intersection of the tangents. Tangents are drawn to the point of intersection of this line and this parabola. Find the point of intersection of the tangents. You have a parabola y square equal to 4x, and you have a line here. So here you can see y coordinate will be 10 by 7 here, and x part will be minus this thing. So here. So you get a line somewhere. Okay. So suppose you get a line like this. Okay. So there will be 2 points of intersection. Okay. So from these 2 points of intersection, tangents are drawn. Okay. So you have to find this P, this point P. So what do you notice? If the point is called x1 comma y1, this is the chord of contact, this line given. So 7y minus 4x minus 10 equal to 0. And the chord of contact of this will be y1 minus equal to 2 into x plus x1. So this becomes minus 2x minus 2x1 equal to 0. Both are the same line. So here you can say that y1 by 7 equals minus 2 by minus 4 equals minus 2x1 by minus 10. So y1 is equal to 7 by 2 and x1 is equal to 5 by 2, and this becomes the point of intersection. Okay, any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, you've heard of lattice rectum and all. So, what are the endpoints of lattice rectum? Length of lattice rectum is 4a. It goes through the point, the focus, a comma 0. So this point will be what? 2a comma a, sorry, a comma 2a and a comma minus 2a. All right, just remember this. I was guessing you already know this. That's why I didn't tell this out. But I'm now telling it out explicitly. So lattice rectum will have the endpoints like this: a comma 2a, a comma minus 2a, and a comma 0. Now, when do I say two parabolas are equal? Two parabolas are equal when the length of their lattice rectums are same. You don't care whether how they are oriented, okay? The length of lattice rectum are same. You can say two parabolas are equal. This is some extra information. Got this much?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see what we have. Okay, so tangents for all have been discussed, right? Tangents for all the cases, ellipse, hyperbola, and parabola. Now, look at normal. Yep, let's look at normal. Normals to the parabola. So at any point, at square to at, just find the equation of the normal. I'm sure you can do this. Come on. Find the equation of the normal. There's some point given here, x1 comma y1, which is at square to at. Find the equation of the normal. We know how to find the equation of the tangent, right? So what is the slope of the tangent at any point with parameter t? Guys, slope of the tangent, we discussed it today. It's 1 by t.
1 by t.
Slope of normal becomes minus t. And we have a point here. We can easily find y minus 2at is equal to slope into x minus at square. So from here, you can say that this is minus tx minus at cube. Okay. So you can further write this. Right. This is what you get. Now, y is equal to minus tx minus at cube plus 2at. Sorry, this becomes plus at cube plus 2at. So you have to understand, you get a cubic. Okay. You get a cubic in t. All right. So this is for the normal. And so remember, p cube will be minus slope cube. So this is very useful here. So this becomes y equal to mx minus am cube minus 2am. All right. This is the equation of the normal. This is very useful. Please remember this. Okay. So to understand this, you have to first fully grasp the fact that the slope of tangent at any point t will be 1 by t. So hence the slope of normal at any point t will be minus t. Okay, any point with parameter value t will be minus t. So that point will be at squared to at, but this is how it will behave. All right. So y equal to mx minus am cube minus 2am will be the equation of the normal. All right. So you want to find the equation of normal with any slope m. This is what you do. Put it into this equation. All right. So it means from a point alpha comma beta, you see a cubic in M, right? So from a point alpha comma beta, there'll be a maximum of 3 normals that can be drawn. Okay, there'll be a maximum of 3 normals. Okay, I don't know why I wrote normals twice. Okay, there'll be max 3 normals. That's the idea. So there'll be 3 different M's. Okay. Now, 3 normals means there'll be at least 1 real root. 1 real root or 3 real roots. The conjugate roots will exist in pairs. There's 1 normal or 3 normals at all points. Okay. Now, if it goes to the point alpha comma beta, I can write this equation as am cube plus 2a minus alpha into m plus beta equal to 0. So this will have at least 1 real root. That's the idea. Okay. So either it can have 3 normals coming out or 1 normal coming out from this. Okay. And you see here that the m squared term has 0 coefficient. So if the slopes are m1, m2, and m3, what is m1 plus m2 plus m3? It will always, always, always be 0. Okay. So if you get 3 normals, the sum of the slopes of the 3 normals will always be 0. Is this clear? So here it's a cubic in M, right? You can say that M1 plus M2 plus M3 will be minus of coefficient of M square, which is 0 divided by A. M1, M2 plus M2, M3 plus M3, M1 will be coefficient of M, which is 2A minus alpha divided by A. And then M1, M2, M3 will be minus beta divided by A here. All right, got this? So you can answer questions quickly using this. All right. So, yeah. Any doubts here, guys? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. Now, normal to the ellipse. Okay. So, how do you find tangent to the ellipse? X1 by a square plus y1 by b square equal to 1. Now, slope of the tangent will be what? Minus x1 by y1 a square by b square. Okay. Slope of the tangent. No, sorry. x1 b square by a square. Okay. Now, slope of the normal will be what? This is the tangent. Okay. So, the slope of the tangent we found y equal to mx plus e form. Put it. So, slope of the normal will be y1 a square by x1 b square. Okay. So since we know that the point on the ellipse on which the normal passes through will be x1 comma y1, the equation will be y minus y1 equal to slope into x minus x1, from which we obtain the equation a square x by x1 minus b square y by y1 equal to a square minus b square as the equation of the normal. Okay, normal to the ellipse. I suggest you remember this so that you can remember, you can connect that with that for the hyperbola. Replace b square with minus b square. That's all you're doing. Okay, equal to a square plus b square. This is the normal to the hyperbola. Okay, this t equal to 0 is tangent for all the cases. So when the point x1 comma y1 lies outside the ellipse or hyperbola or any conic, t equal to 0, what will it become? It will become the chord of contact. Okay. I taught some other formulas yesterday, right? T equal to S1. Guys, what is T equal to S1? Okay, so suppose you have some conic given to you. Okay, some ellipse or parabola, hyperbola, whatever it is. Okay, you have a chord here whose midpoint is given by h comma k. Okay, whose midpoint is given by h comma k. The equation of the chord, bisected at h comma k. You get that using this. This is very useful. This is very, very useful. So please remember this. Equation of chord bisected at h comma k is t equal to s1. What is s1? S1 is when you put the point h comma k into the equation directly. What is t? When you put the point into the equation in a specific fashion, x square will be x1, 2x will be x plus x1, and so on. Okay. Following till here? Guys, any doubts here? Yes, you have no doubts, sir? Pleasantly surprised. Okay. Harish left, huh? Okay, so yeah, that's about it for today's class. You guys understood director circle, parametric form, chord of contact. All right. Any doubts here till now?
No, sir.
So then I'll tell you the last thing. Auxiliary circle. The circle that goes to the vertices. Okay, to the vertices. That'll be x square plus y square equal to a square. Just remember this. Auxiliary circle. It'll have transverse axis as the diameter. Okay, this is applicable for ellipse and hyperbola. Okay, x square. So it'll look like this. Okay, it goes through the vertices. That's the idea. Vertices will be the diameter. Okay, transverse axis will be the diameter. So just remember this much. And next we'll cover rectangular hyperbola in tomorrow's class and finish conics off. Okay, guys. So please practice as much as possible. These new formulas are there. I know I repeated a lot of formulas from yesterday's class, but that is because some of you weren't there for yesterday's class. But I hope you guys are more thorough with these examples, and please practice some problems. Okay, do that much for me. All right. If you have doubts, please ask. Otherwise, class is done for now. Thank you, guys. Do you have any doubts?
Thank you, sir.
No, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.